What is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome back. Jake and Kyle coming at you today talking some tight ends, the
Jake
football
and Kyle
kind.
here to talk about the tight ends.
Okay, that's enough. Anyway, the top 20 tight ends here, but it's early, right? We are post-free agency-ish, right? Because there's still some things that could happen that could affect some rankings. Plus, it's only March, so for sure, things are going to change. But here's the beauty of it. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into the rankings. And me and Kyle agree on a lot at the top. And here's the reason why. There's only a handful of tight ends that are worth a damn.
The position sucks.
Yeah, after the top 5-6 names, it's a serious crapshoot. So if you don't get one of the top 6, you have just as good a chance of finding a top 10 tight end later than you do as far as everybody else in your league. It's nasty. So if you look at the rankings, I'm going to put them up here the first 6 at a time probably. We got Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, and Dallas Goedert if you're feeling fancy, or Goddard if you just want to say his name correctly. But you think about it, after that, it gets a little bit iffier. There's some names that we do like that are still inside our top 12, but Travis Kelce, no-brainer, right? Darren Waller, they didn't really add anybody. The target share is still going to be huge for Darren Waller.
In fact, they got rid of their leading receiver, Nelson Aguilar. So
Exactly. So, that's a huge bump for him. George Kittle, can he stay healthy? Biggest question mark with him. Do they trust in Jimmy G going forward? That's the biggest question mark there. TJ Hawkinson, no more Kenny Golladay, no more Marvin Jones, a whole lot of TJ Hawkinson. Mark Andrews, as of right now, Baltimore still hasn't signed another top end wide receiver, which means he's going to see volume. And now Dallas Goedert, because I am feeling fancy right now, in case you're wondering, no longer has Zach Ertz to worry about.
Well, not yet, but
yeah,
they've been seeking a trade.
Right.
So
It seems like he is out the door. It doesn't know
ranking Goddard as if there's going to be no Ertz this year.
Exactly, and same here, because after that, there's a lot of question marks. Now, the first one we're going to really start to discuss here is number 7. I have Big Bob Tunyon, and that's what I like to call him because I've heard Aaron Rodgers call him that before, so that's amazing. You have Noah Fant, who, if we're playing Madden, Kyle, I love me
there it is.
some Noah Fant. All right, if you don't follow us on Headliner Gaming, we're in the middle of an online franchise right now, and Noah Fant is a man on a mission, and I will dominate you with some Noah Fant. However, you have Noah Fant higher in your rankings. The reason I don't, I'm just a little bit worried with Cortland Sutton coming back, and now there's Jerry Jeudy there. But as far as Robert Tonyan goes, we saw last year, right? He saw the attention of Aaron Rodgers, and he gained that respect to probably lead to more targets here this year.
Yeah, now the reason I'm going Fant a little bit higher is because, kind of like I talked about in a couple of other videos, I do believe the Broncos draft a quarterback. And if that's what ends up happening, I think Fant's going to end up becoming kind of that number one target for that quarterback because he is such a mismatch and is such a headache. I think you're going to find him open a lot more often than what you might find Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, which if the quarterback is looking that way, knowing that, it's going to be a lot of kind of first read throws from whoever's there. Just, with a rookie quarterback, I think Fant can be a little bit more of their best friend. Robert Tonyan, I do have him more down towards 11, just because I think we are looking at more touchdown dependence than anything. And the question is, are those touchdowns going to be there again this year?
Right. Number 8, I have Logan Thomas, which is pretty high. You don't have him much further down your list. You have Mike Gesicki at number 8, but for Logan
and Thomas,
yes, we have them flip-flopped. So, two names that we really like, right? With the addition of Ryan Fitzmagic for the Washington football team, love us some Logan Thomas. Yeah. One thing that may hurt him slightly is the addition of Curtis Samuel. We know about Terry McLaurin. We got J.D. McKissick in the backfield with Antonio Gibson. But when you're looking for tight ends, you're looking for that scoring upside. That's somewhere where Logan Thomas helped out a lot. Mike Gesicki, I'm still expecting more to happen in Miami, and there's still a lot of rumors surrounding the Miami Dolphins and potential moves, but I do not dislike him whatsoever. We saw him make some big plays. In my opinion, he's not really the tight end that's going to be like the little check down, move the first down marker. He's the guy who's looking down the field, big plays, touchdowns, making spectacular catches, and that makes him, in my opinion, just a little bit riskier.
Yeah, career high in receptions, career high in yards, career high in yards per reception, career high in touchdowns. They say year 3 and 4 is kind of when tight ends start to, make that move to being,
They
more of a
loosen up a
higher
little
end
bit.
status. And we're going into year 4. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gesicki, even takes a little bit more of a step forward. But since he's entered the league, 16, 16, and 15 games. So there's one thing we know is that he's been healthy. Just can he be more consistent?
Yep, exactly. Agree. Number 10. Last year, I had a hot take of saying Gronk was going to be a top 10 quarterback. Or, excuse me, a top 10, not a quarterback.
That
That
is
would
a
be really
hot
weird.
take.
That's very hot. A top 10 tight end. Nobody liked it. I'm going to do it again this year as of right now. Rob Gronkowski is my number 10 tight end. He's coming back for a reason. He's coming back to be with Tom Brady. I mean, we saw end of season Gronk start to get more involved in that offense consistently. Is he going to be the guy that's going to see huge target volume? No, probably not, because of all the other weapons in that offense, but the touchdown upside is definitely going to be there weekly. And once again, at this point of the rankings, if you can find a guy who's going to go out there and get you right around 600 yards receiving and somewhere in that neighborhood of 6 to 8 touchdowns, he's going to finish as a tight end 1. That's why I have Gronk right here at number 10. You have Irv Smith Jr. of the Minnesota Vikings, who now no longer has to worry about Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, I'm just hoping they incorporate the tight end a little bit
Mhm.
more. If they do, and I did a video on Irv Smith Jr., a couple of weeks ago or something like that. So after you get done watching this video, if you want some more info on Irv Smith Jr., just scroll down a few videos right before free agency when they released Kyle Rudolph. You'll be able to find that Irv Smith Jr. video. But his range of outcomes is really high this year. If you take some of the numbers that he could potentially get, if you look at the history there over the last few years with the tight end position under Mike Zimmer, he is within that tight end 4 grasp. That is how high his ceiling is, and it's actually very easy to get there. So hopefully they do that. With Rob Gronkowski, will we just see a little bit more consistency this year than what we saw last year? So it doesn't have to be so touchdown dependent. Just give me some more volume. If I can get some more yards, some more catches, perfect. He's definitely within that top 10 for me then.
Number 11, I have Hunter Henry, one of your past bays, I guess we can call it.
He's still gonna
Now,
be he's a friend of the channel.
I mean, he is kind of a friend of the channel, but
Our
now he's in
intro
New
used to
England.
have him.
I know. He used to announce our videos here, but now he's in New England. Now he's in a totally different ball game. You have Big Bob Tunyon at 11, but for Hunter Henry, it's confusing, right? Because on paper, looking at things, it looks like Hunter Henry is going to be the offensive version of the two tight end set in New England with Jonnu Smith. However, would it surprise me if it's completely flip flopped this year? No, it would not. Not by a long shot. I still believe Hunter Henry is the guy who has the greater opportunity at volume in the passing game. That's why I got him at number 11.
Yeah, this is it's going to be an awful position to figure out in New England. Henry could go off for 2 touchdowns and in 100 yards, and then Smith could the next week, and then they could split. And I mean, I just think that Hunter Henry is going to have the option to be a little bit more consistent.
Yep. Number 12 and 13, a few names we've already touched on previously. Noah Fant for me at 12. You have Hunter Henry. 13, I have Irv Smith Jr., and you got Gronk. But at 14, another 2 names that we haven't talked about yet. I have Evan Ingram of the New York Giants. You have Gerald Everett, who is definitely starting to creep up draft boards rapidly quick because Seattle likes to use tight ends. And he could be the tightest of all ends in Seattle, and you are getting dangerously close to the camera.
Hey, Anthony, you know how you always make a comment about how much I love Ingram? Jake has him higher than I do. I'm pretty sure that dude's named Anthony.
There's always a comment on every video about Evan Ingram.
Every video about Evan Ingram and my love for him, and I don't even have him higher than Jake this year.
I mean, you have him a couple spots lower, and it just falls into that crapshoot category, right? I mean, talent-wise, he's got it. He's got a lot more other options to feed in that offense, and I get that.
He's just
but
got to
he's
get rid
got
of the dropsies.
Yes, he's got to catch the ball, A. And B, if you look at all the names that we have after him, I don't know if there's any one of those guys that are any safer. I mean, they may have, great games now and again, but everybody's going to be a risk. After number 12, 13, they're all a risk. Okay. Let's just be completely, actually, heck, after 6, they're pretty much all a risk.
This is true. Gerald
so-
Everett, I really like this Everett signing,
So do
though. I mean, at one point in time, Everett was the tight end 1 in LA, and then Higbee kind of came in and butted in and then started to take stuff away from him, and then he wasn't so much last year. But when Russell Wilson had Jimmy Graham, he loved him some Jimmy Graham. They were consistently hooking up. I can see Gerald Everett filling that role this year.
Yeah, absolutely love it. 15, this is where I have Tyler Higbee with now no Gerald Everett. Could he see some more targets, more consistent? I mean, he still got to worry about Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, but still an option in that offense. This is where you have Jonnu Smith, who we already touched on with him in New England with Hunter Henry. Right after that is where I have Gerald Everett, and you have Evan Ingram at 16. 17, though, the man, the myth, the legend, the Hall of Fame tight end, Anthony Fursker.
The Hall of Fame.
I don't know. I'm just trying to make the dude feel really good about himself because when Jonnu Smith went down last year, Anthony Fursker was the guy-ish. You know what I mean? And now with no Corey Davis and no Jonnu Smith, somebody else has got to catch a football in Tennessee. It's not going to be really Derrick Henry, so I'm going with Anthony Fursker. You have Hayden Hurst at 17.
Yeah, and I'll say it right now. Like, I'll move Fursker into the top 20. I'm just waiting to see what happens, at wide receiver. Do they make any additions? Does anything happen in the draft? I'm just waiting on that. But Fursker is going to probably be in the top 20 for me by the time the season gets here.
Yeah, and with Hayden Hurst, he's somebody who I expected more of last year. He didn't do horrible. He was just highly inconsistent. Got a little bit better as the season progressed, but he's somebody else who we're hoping takes a step forward in that offense. The problem is he's got to compete with Julio and Ridley on a weekly basis.
Yep.
18, this is where I have Jonnu Smith. We've talked about him, and you have Tyler Higbee. 19 is where I have Hayden Hurst of Atlanta, but this is where you have Austin Hooper of the Cleveland Browns. Hooper? Austin Hooper of the Cleveland Browns. But with OBJ coming back, how much volume do we see going the way of Austin Hooper? Because I only have him one spot lower than you. I got him at 20. Love Austin Hooper. Just don't love the amount of opportunities that he could see.
Yeah, and we talked about it a lot last year. Like the two kind of hyped up tight ends last year was Hurst and Hooper, and I wasn't on board with either of them. Really, I didn't like either of
Hurst
them
more than Hooper.
Yeah, and then Hooper, I was like, listen, yeah, they paid him a lot of money, but you have to understand too that I think he's being signed as an extension of the offensive line, and he's going to be used to block quite a bit because he's a good blocker. But don't expect him to be used the way that he was in Atlanta. And I just don't expect it to happen again this year either. I think he's a decent target, but you also have to remember the other guys that they have there at tight end. They were moving them in and out quite a bit last year. So I just, Hooper might have a touchdown here or there, but that's going to be about it.
And you have to remember that part of the reason that Hooper saw a lot of those targets last year is the injuries to OBJ, and Jarvis Landry wasn't 100%, and we didn't have David Njoku for part of the season. I mean, there was other factors that were a part of that. Yep. Last name we'll talk about, your number 20, and I have a feeling you put him here just so we don't forget about him.
Yes.
It's Zach Ertz, because It really depends where he falls, right? Depends where he ends up going. We really don't know where to rank him as of yet, but just don't forget about him.
Honestly, unless he goes to New England, I mean,
don't rule it out.
Yeah, I mean, he could go as long as he doesn't go to Kansas City, Oakland, San Francisco, Detroit, Baltimore, or New England. I mean, he's going to be a tight end one, and he'll probably move up really far onto this board for me. So definitely a top 10. Guy's still only 28. He's still on the younger side too for a tight end. So
I want Zach Ertz in Buffalo.
I'll take that. I just don't like it because I do like Dawson Knox, but
but Dawson Knox, we're only talking about a year anyway. Give Dawson Knox another chance, another year to learn under Zach Ertz. Perfect. But hey, those were our top 20 of the tightest of all ends in things fantasy football for 2021. Let us know what you think down below in the comment section. Do you see things a little bit different? You have to admit, tight end is a wasteland in fantasy football. I don't think there should be anybody out there that says, you know what, tight end's a deep position, because I've never heard that at all. But we do want to communicate with you, so make sure you leave those comments down below. And if you like the content like this, do us a favor, please. It's the off season and views are way lower than they are in season. Hit the like button for us and consider subscribing, because we want to make sure that we involve you, the community, as much as we possibly can here this off season. Look forward to a lot of things we got coming up. And while Kyle's sitting there pointing to things that we can't see on camera, I'm going to just tell you to have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later.